right through to the T1 Escalades. I've got a pair of them actually on the floor, an ESV and a Sport. And that brings us around the floor to our V-Series cars here. So I'm very fortunate to have two of CT4V and a CT5V on hand right now at Cadillac Live. Is everybody able to see them well in your video stream from the studio here? Just give you a little bit of a look around. You see all the classic V-Series signature items. You've got the high gloss mesh grille, much more pronounced lower chin strap, high gloss black trim all the way around, and of course the V badge on the lower door panel. Now you'll notice the Brembo brakes, these with blue calipers and the V logo peeking out from behind these. 18-inch wheels on the CT4V. Of course, the CT5V has 19 inches. And these are the midnight finish on these wheels as well. Now, a lot of the features I'm talking about here are going to be consistent with the CT5V as well. You'll notice the rear diffuser and those quad exhaust tips. And of course, the V-Series cars have our clear taillight lens covers, neutral density taillight covers, and the V badge. Something I want to point out off the top here is that all the V-Series cars are actually available in all-wheel drive as well. This one is a rear driver that we're looking at here now. And all the V-Series vehicles are available with magnetic ride control, our fourth generation of magnetic ride control on the CT4V and CT5V we have on hand here. A couple of upgrades for the magnetic ride series 4. Now using velocity sensors instead of position sensors to make adjustments, and they can actually adjust in, what, 13 milliseconds, I think. Ken, if you're there, you can assist me on that.
Yeah, actually, so quicker than the blink of an eye. So
quicker than the blink of an eye.
it reads the road up to 1,000 times per second and can adjust almost as quickly.
And now can control the magnetic. It can control the magnet in both directions. So it actually activates and deactivates just as quickly. So it can very quickly go from a more rigid setting to a very soft setting as well now. So even quicker responding. Just gonna get in behind the wheel of the CT4 here. You'll notice the sport seating. Lots of adjustability. I like the way you can adjust the thigh support. I'm 6'1", so I appreciate that longer seat adjustment. Jump in here and fire it up. See a bit of a greeting as I turn things on. You'll see some specific information in the Driver Information Center, of course, for the Sport and V-Series models. Something I want to show you that's kind of fun is the V-mode settings. So, of course, in Cadillac world, all of our vehicles have My Mode. You can customize engine sound, steering response, suspension response, and brake response to your personality. But maybe you want to do some little more spirited driving. You know, you don't want your CT4 to behave every day the same way that it does on the weekend, maybe. So you can adjust and customize a separate V-mode setting. which gives you more control over the powertrain response as well. So it's going to change your shift points and your throttle response, for example. And then anytime I want to go into V mode, I can just press this button right here on the steering wheel, and I'm automatically going to go into those settings. And of course, my driver information center, I've got everything from a G-force meter, 0 to 60 timer, lap timer, everything that I might find important for more spirited driving. And speaking of more spirited driving, what if I want to go to the racetrack on the weekend? Show you what I can do here. I'm going to go into track mode, and I'm very quickly going to shut off traction control. What that does is take me into performance track management settings. So I can customize for wet track conditions, dry track, Sport 1, Sport 2, and ultimately race mode. So that tailors stability control and traction control for the track and maybe my abilities too. And of course, with head-up display, I've got my RPMs displayed prominently in the windshield, so I know when to downshift. This is a 10-speed automatic transmission on the V model. And of course, the CT4V has our 2.7-liter dual volute turbocharged 4-cylinder motor. This makes 325 horsepower, 380 pound-feet of torque, driving the rear wheel through a 10-speed automatic, as I mentioned. And the CT4V has a mechanical limited slip differential as well. Now, as I pan over to the CT5V, I just want to highlight a few differences on the CT5V. Of course, this is the longer wheelbase, bigger brother to the CT4. So we step up on the CT5V to a 3-liter twin-turbo V6 with low inertia turbos. Makes 360 horsepower, 425 pound-feet of torque, or sorry, 405 pound-feet of torque. And again, drives the rear wheel through a 10-speed automatic transmission. This one is all-wheel drive, though. Once again, Brembo brakes up front. And magnetic ride control is standard equipment on the V series. One thing I want to mention, even with all-wheel drive, you still get magnetic ride control. So this is the first time we've done an all-wheel drive with magnetic ride control. I just want to give you a look at the interior of this vehicle too. This is a Platinum model, so this has the Platinum package on it. Beautiful Sedona Sauvage interior. Seats are heated and ventilated, of course, with lower lumbar massage. It's available on the CT4V as well. Beautiful carbon fiber inserts in the interior as well. I really love the rear 3/4 view of the CT5V. Again, those quad exhausts and diffuser specific to the CT5V. And the CT5V, another differentiating factor between it and the CT4V, it has an electronic limited slip differential, so even more nuanced control of that torque at the rear wheels. 10-inch display infotainment system. Again, featuring all the same V mode and my mode customization. And there's my V mode button right on the wheel. And just in parting, I want to take us over and have a quick look at the CT4 Sport we have on hand as well, which has some features in common with the V-Series models. The CT4 Sport is in wave blue, matching Brembo calipers. So again, up front, Brembo brakes. And you'll notice the same high gloss black features. One thing that would give the Sport away at a glance is that there's more chrome on the chin strap and on the lower grille. But it shares that high gloss black lower rocker, rear diffuser. And I just want to show you something that I really like. On the Sport model, you get the same driver information center with the performance display. You have your My mode as well. So you can program the vehicle's response for yourself. And you have the same high performance G-force meter, lap timer, 0 to 60 timer available as well. Something I really like about the Sport model. So that's a bit of an introduction to the CT4V, CT5V, and CT4 Sport. With that, I'll throw it back to Iman and the team.
Fantastic job, Rick. Thank you so much. Hey, Ken, anything you want to add from your perspective? We got a fantastic walk around from Rick, but just from your side of the house, any other details you want to offer around the sedans?
Yep, well, first I want to second, great job, Rick, going through that. And then regarding the product lineup, definitely is a reinforcement that Cadillac has not abandoned sedans. And so we know that there's a shift towards crossovers and SUVs, and we've obviously invested heavily in those products, but sedans also are very important. And there's a lot of customers that want sedans for many different reasons. And so we're pretty proud of both the CT4 and CT5. And what Rick shared was just a couple of the models. And so there's a lot of differentiated choice that we have available. So we have luxury, premium luxury. You saw the Sport in the CT4, and then we have the V-Series. And then coming very soon here, we've been teasing the V-Series Blackwing models. So a lot to look forward to regarding sedans and Cadillac's future. Regarding just the Cadillac Live experience, definitely a great partnership between Cadillac, our Cadillac Live studio, and our dealers, really, where we partner with them and use this experience to bring a more informed customer to our dealers, and where they can go ahead and continue to assist with their questions and the selling process. And so very successful. It's really been a great tool for us. Cadillac Live actually launched prior to the pandemic. And as we headed into the pandemic, it really has served us well with being able to connect with customers in really an intimate way, and where we can just one-on-one answer any questions that they have. One of the Cadillac executives described it as being really like your personal one-on-one auto show experience, and it really is that. And so hopefully you're getting the sense of that. And with that, I think maybe we can open it up for questions.
Sure. Damon, do we have anything coming in right now?
Yeah, I will actually, I will get things started. I'm just curious, how does a customer do they schedule an appointment for one of the Cadillac Live virtual tours, or is it kind of an on-demand thing? How is that process initiated?
They can either set up an appointment if they wish, or they can just join us anytime they like. They can quickly link to us through any of Cadillac's websites, or they can come straight to our Cadillac Live website, and they just press start session. They'll get a 30-second countdown, and during that 30-second countdown, it'll just remind them to do things like enable their microphone, and then 30 seconds later, a live agent like myself will join them, greet them, ask them what they'd like to see today. Very often people they might often have a question about a vehicle they already own. And we can, help them understand something on their infotainment system. So it varies from, most of our visitors are obviously coming to look at a new vehicle they're shopping for. But we really see this as an opportunity to put a personal touch on the web experience. We all know that when people are shopping for a car now, many of the first stages of shopping are online. And so we just want to make that personal touch along the way to the dealership.
Cool. All right. They are coming in fast and furious here. I better, let me start getting to some of these questions. Carl Malik writes, on the subject of stereos, with Escalade being equipped with the AKG sound system and some other members of the Cadillac family still retaining the Bose system, could we see a potential phase out of Bose and Cadillac models for all AKQ, or will it be an Escalade only thing?
Yeah, great question. I'll start with that one. So Escalade is bringing a lot of excitement and obviously a lot of new technology to the marketplace. And so Bose and Cadillac, we've been strong partners for many years now. And so you'll see in the foreseeable future, we'll have Bose on many of our products. But with the introduction of AKG on Escalade, it's also fair to say that you'll probably see AKG rolling out to additional Cadillacs in the future. So it made sense for us to go ahead and really launch the AKG experience with the Escalade being such an iconic halo vehicle for the Cadillac brand. And as we continue to launch new vehicles, look for additional AKG offerings.
All right. And Jennifer Moran asks, have there been Cadillac dealer trainings yet on the platform? Are they integrating this at all into their dealership websites?
I'll maybe speak to that. We have been doing some liaison work with the dealerships for sure. That can range from a salesperson in a meeting with a client who wants to see a vehicle that they don't necessarily have on hand that moment in the dealership. So they'll come visit us, and then we can take them on, immediately show them specific features on the vehicle. For example, we could go have a look at the AKG audio system in the Escalade right now. So it's very often that sort of thing, but sometimes the salespeople will join us as a group, and we'll have a group learning session. We'll learn together with them very often. So yeah, we are working with salespeople in the dealerships regularly.
And Rick, what I love about the experience too, and maybe you can talk a little bit about this, is you have different sizes of golf clubs, golf bags there. You have child car seats, booster seats, a lot of things, luggage, things that people question about cargo capacity, carrying capabilities, flexibility, and you can augment that experience that they have with the dealer beforehand with being able to show them which vehicles maybe accommodate them better.
Yes, we have a lot of things on hand. We get a lot of ribbing actually about how many hockey sticks we have around here. I find them really handy to show off the rear camera mirror technology because it really shows off my blind spots very well. But yeah, we have everything here from, we like to call them the Cadillacs of baby strollers. We've got giant baby strollers here. Have you noticed how large the baby strollers have gotten? We have a set of them here. We have golf clubs. We got a couple of sets of golf clubs handy as well. So if somebody's really falling in love with the CT5V, but they're concerned about whether or not their clubs are going to fit, rather than talking numbers, and trying to give them assurances over the phone, we can show them that your standard tour bag is going to fit just fine. Because very often the picture does, as you know, paint a few dozen words.
All right, from Joe Sage, could you please give a quick evolutionary comparison from prior V models to these V series and where the Sport you just showed us fits in now?
Yeah, great question. So I'll take that one. So V series, we actually launched our first V series back in 2004. So 2019 marked the 15th anniversary of V series. And for those 15 years, V series represented really the ultimate or the pinnacle of Cadillac performance, technology, and execution. In 2019, we launched the CT6V Blackwing. And this was part of not just an elevation strategy for Cadillac, but an elevation and expansion for Cadillac. And so still elevating, providing great track capable vehicles, but in addition to that, providing what customers had been asking for. And what I mean by that is that V Series up until that point didn't offer all-wheel drive, for instance. And so with the CT6V all-wheel drive, with the CT4 and CT5Vs that you see on the showroom there with all-wheel drive, we offer all-season tires, a lot more all-weather capability, as well as obtainability. So for a lot of people, V Series also just, they weren't obtainable. And so we really see it as an and strategy. And so as I mentioned with the V Series Blackwing vehicles being teased, we still will have those ultimate track capable vehicles that are out there. And in fact, we've already teased that this next generation of the track vehicles are the fastest Vs that we've ever produced. And so we're still elevating in every area. And when you see in the interiors and the refinement and integration, you'll see that we're still going up with everything that we do. But in addition to that, we're growing the V Series family. And so we're going wider and we're making more accessible with more all-weather and other technology that people are looking for, Super Cruise, etc. And so it's really part of the expansion and elevation of the, and that started really in 2019 with our 15th anniversary, continued in 2020 with the CT4 and CT5V, and you'll see that pretty much rolling out almost every year, additional entries to go ahead and reinforce that. And then Sport, the question on Sport, sorry, I don't want to leave out a portion of that. So within the Cadillac model strategy, we offer differentiated choice. We realize that some customers prefer more of a traditional luxury appearance vehicle, more bright work, a little bit more towards the comfort and convenience side. But some people want to get their sinister side on as well. And so they want to go more towards the performance. And that's what we have Sport and V Series for. And so really, when you get into really the heart of our lineup, it's premium luxury or sport. And so no matter where you look, inside the vehicle 360, outside the vehicle 360, there is true differentiated choice. Lighter, brighter, more comfort, convenience in the premium luxury, a little bit more performance oriented, darker, a little bit more sinister with the sport. And so it's really part of being in the heart of where customers are shopping and giving them that true choice. And then of course, when you start with sport, if that's the show, then the V is the show plus the go. And that's where V Series comes in, where we elevate that even further.
All right, Tim Healy asks, do you see the virtual showroom lasting beyond the pandemic? I know a lot of customers don't like going to the dealer and dealing with salespeople. This could be a way for customers to dip their toes in the water from the comfort of home before coming in, correct?
Hey, it's Casey. I can answer that. Yeah, we see this as just a great resource, again, from the customer starting their journey in the research phase, but even as Rick touched on it, for new owners too, being a resource. So maybe they have a new feature or, trying to connect to their phone to the Bluetooth in the car. It's also a resource for new owners. So we see this evolving and continuing to be a tool well beyond the pandemic.
All right, and Larry Knudsen asks, industry data suggests more new vehicle shopping due to the pandemic, but recently more interest in sedans. Is Cadillac seeing this growth in sedan shopping?
Yeah, for sure we are. In fact, we just finished out August here, and CT4 and CT5 had their best sales months yet. and we're continuing to grow share as well. And what most people don't realize is that, yep, all the segments are important, obviously, but the second largest luxury segment in the US is the CT5 segment. And so there are a lot of sedan shoppers that are out there that, whether it's the size of the vehicle, the aesthetics of the vehicle, the performance, you name it, they still want sedans. And then for CT4, it actually is the only luxury segment that has grown year over year, even through the pandemic. And so, yes, the sedan shoppers, they're still out there, and the sedan segments are still strong, and we are seeing that in our sales results.
All right, and Tom Appel asks, has Cadillac decided to focus more on value with this new generation of sedans? The CT4 and CT5 seem to be much more aggressively priced than the ATS and CTS were. New strategy?
Yeah, I think that Cadillac has always focused on value, and just want to make a differentiation. There's a big difference between competing on price and competing on value. Price is you try to undercut the competition, and you're really just selling on payment. Whereas value is you're really trying to provide luxury customers with what they see as a good buy for their money. So you can have a very expensive vehicle that customers think is just incredible value because of what they're getting for their money. And that's really what we've tried to do with both the CT4 and CT5. So they are all new sedans. And so they may be based off of the same award-winning architecture, but basically there is nothing carryover from these vehicles except for some of the underpinnings that made the previous sedans great. And so we did reposition them, new global digital architecture, new exterior, interior, the technology. They are not a replacement for ATS and CTS. It really is a reinvigoration and repositioning into what we call the subcompact luxury segment and the compact luxury. And so we're positioned right in the heart of those segments. So when you think CT4, think about A-Class, Mercedes CLA, BMW 2 Series Grand Coupe, Audi A3. So that's really where the CT4 is positioned, right in the heart of that segment. You'll see that on price, but also in what we provide for that money. So that's really where the value is. And then similarly for CT5, we are going up against 3 Series, C-Class, A4, vehicles like that. And again, it's not really the price, but what you get for the price and what you get for the money as standard content. And in particular, those V-Series vehicles, those V-Series vehicles are just phenomenal when you compare them to their comparable rivals from the competitors. And I think a lot of third-party journalists are seeing that as well in some of the test drives and the write-offs that yeah, you get a lot for your money.
All right, Jim O'Brill asks, is Cadillac Live available 24/7 or are there specific hours of operation? Also, once connected with a live representative, do customers have a specific time limit with that rep?
And we answered some of those questions within the chat, so they've been addressed. Just FYI.
Okay. Let me see. Yeah, I'm still up at the top of the chart here. Bob asks, where are you located and how many customers can you have at one time? Has that one been answered?
Yeah, we're located in Toronto, Canada. This Cadillac Live program actually originated in the Canadian market back in March 2019, and then the US came on board early this year, pre-pandemic. But again, the good thing with it being virtually, anyone can access it anywhere, regardless of the physical space.
All right.
We like to sell the story that we're located on a cloud somewhere in the universe, but nobody's bid on that too hard. So yeah.
All right. I apologize if some of these have been answered already. Following up on Jennifer's question, is there a direct handoff from Cadillac Live to dealer websites?
So after each session, the goal is to connect the customer to a dealership. So we'll try to connect them through a test drive lead, and we'll ask if they have a preferred dealership, and then Rick or whoever the live agent is will fill out a lead form on behalf of the customer, and then they'll put any kind of key comments that would be crucial for the dealer to know, so that again, it's more of a warm handoff and they're not starting that conversation from scratch.
All right, and Paul Strauss asks, is there footage of the virtual showroom available for us to share with our audiences?
Yep, we have a whole slew of videos that we can share, and I can give it to Amon to be able to pass it on to this group as a resource.
All right. I think Carl Anthony he says, a few years back, I would always go and admire the pearl white ATS-V on display at the Rensa, and I see some of the same design language in the new V-Series cars. Is that my imagination, or is there some of that old school style in there with these new V-Series cars?
Yep. So I think you see a little bit of both. I think you see a nod to the past and a look to the future. And so what you can really see in this generation of sedans is in 2016, we had the Escala concept vehicle, which was a long, lean, low passenger car. And so if you look at that vehicle, the proportions of it being a rear-wheel drive based vehicle, the lines, if you look at the headlamps, the tail lamps, the grille, you see a lot of that vehicle in both CT4 and CT5. But in addition to that, there are things that nod to our past. And so you still see the vertical lighting elements and some of the other things that you've seen on Cadillacs of the past. And so we try to always have that balance of a nod to the past, but always forward looking.
I see a second half of Bob's question. I apologize if this was already answered. If it was, I didn't catch it. We established where the virtual showroom is located, but did the question, how many customers can you have at one time, did that get answered?
Yep, so right now it's just based off how many live agents we have staffed. So right now we have about 5 in the showroom per shift. Just some of that's due to like COVID regulations, so they can take those calls kind of concurrently. And kind of what Rick was saying, we'll prompt the customer if the wait time is too long. So while you're waiting for a session, and if it's over 5 minutes, it'll tell you what place you're in line. It prompts you to book a reservation so you don't have to wait. We're also looking to enhance the platform by building a one-to-many feature. So it's more of a group tour functionality that a mass amount of people can join a tour for the new Escalade or V-Series and kind of ask questions via a chat to be able to reach more people at once.
All right. I believe we are caught up with the questions that have been typed in so far. If I missed some, oh, I've got a new one coming in. Joe Sage asks, I've had the CT5 V-Series here this week, 25 hours or so to go. If you were sitting in the right seat while we took one more good drive, what might you stress one more time or make sure I haven't missed? Thanks.
Oh, great question. CT5 V-Series, okay, again, think about the relevant competitive set. And so you're talking about an AMG C43, or you're talking about an Audi S4, a BMW M235 or 335i. Those types of vehicles. And so what I would stress is first and foremost, just the response of the vehicle when you drive. And so at 405 pound-feet of torque, by far out of those key competitors, the most torque. And so as you know, what you feel when you step on the accelerator, that torque translates into that pull on the vehicle. And so that's one of the things that I would just have you kind of tune into, is really how that vehicle feels, how responsive and quick it is with its twin turbo engine. In addition to that, I see Rick, I think, working through my mode and V mode on the display here. And I would go ahead and play with those settings as well. I think Rick did a great job explaining that we provide a lot of preset modes with the vehicle. So snow, ice, tour, sport. And so if you want a particular drive experience, you can always select one of those with the mode switch on the center console. But if you want a more customized ride, My Mode is a great choice. And My Mode latches across ignition cycle. So it's really meant to be your everyday drive mode. So once you set it in the center display and you select it, every ignition cycle, you're in your own personal mode. And so if you want to hear a little bit more substantial exhaust sound, or you want a little tighter or firmer steering, you can go ahead and adjust that in your My mode. If you want to go ahead and have more of a visceral performance drive, that's what V mode is for, and that's what that steering wheel button does. And so in V mode, you can go ahead and customize a few additional attributes, including powertrain attributes in your vehicle. And then when you get to your favorite twisty road, or if you're fortunate enough to be able to go on a track, one click on the V mode and you're into your V mode settings. And so that level of flexibility is another thing that I would go ahead and advise that you tune into. The last thing I'll say, because I don't want to, I could talk about the vehicle for hours, and people who know me know that. I'd say look at the interfaces of the vehicle and the technology. And so I mentioned we have our new global digital architecture and just how responsive that is, but also the way that you can interface with your vehicle. So in your CT5V, you have natural voice recognition. So it's cloud-based. It actually learns your speech patterns and gets better the more you use it. And so with a simple touch of your steering wheel, you can go ahead and access many of your features and functions through voice, or you can use the redundant controls on your steering wheel for some of your most used functions, like your audio control. You obviously have the color touchscreen. That's a 10-inch diagonal HD touchscreen. You have the redundant knobs below. You have the rotary controller on the center console. And so we provide a lot of useful redundancy because we know that really every customer is different. And what they bring to the vehicle as far as their preferences, not two customers are alike. And so it's not that you have to learn our system and how to interface with it. Is if you have a preference and you've always used touchscreens, we have that for you. And you just continue to use touchscreens. Or if you like rotary controls, we have that for you, or voice recognition and so forth. So it's that level of thoughtful detail in the interfaces that hopefully comes through in your drive as well.
All right, I think we are caught up with the questions. If anybody has anything else they want to ask, please type it in, or if I miss something, please just type in a Q and I can circle back. I actually have questions for Rick. I want to know what kind of learning curve there was for you to sort of fine tune your ambidextrous skills. And if there are any prepping things you do you do deep knee bends before the start of a session?
I'll tell you, I'm wide open for any pointers. It's interesting because this is really something that nobody's really ever done before. And, you know, I've been doing auto shows and working as a CSR and a product specialist for Cadillac for a long time. But it's amazing what happens to your brain when you're balancing a camera, a physical space full of other people moving around, and then all this car knowledge. And there's so much exciting stuff to share. You get into the infotainment system on the new Escalade, and there's a half hour of stuff to cover right there with a customer if you want to, right? So there's a continuous process of balancing knowledge with time and expediency. And I honestly, we are learning how to do this better as we go. And every day there's a discovery about how to do this better. A lot of it is just about how to greet a customer because people haven't had this experience before. And although it says Cadillac Live prominently a few times before you get into the studio here, people are often genuinely shocked when they are greeted by a real person. So we have to, you know, really be nuanced and get them beyond that initial, oh my gosh, there's somebody live talking to me. And the big thing is everybody assumes that we can see them. And we can't, of course. It's a one-way video screen. So you get people saying things like, oh my gosh, I'm just here in my pajamas. Hang on. And I was like, no, that's fine. That's fine. You're good. You're good. We can't see you. Relax. Finish your nachos. Just wanted to help you out with any questions you might have about Cadillacs. And by the way, have you seen the new whatever? And so we look for ways to really manage that initial, it's the only word I can come up with is it's always just a bit of a shock. And it's fun. A lot of it's fun.
Right. I've got a question from Mark. With the new digital architecture, has Cadillac developed a feature release strategy for customers who purchase a vehicle and then receive updates 6, 12, 18 months down the road?
Yeah, nothing that we can announce today, but having stated that, one of the great things about this new architecture, and really it launched on CT4 and CT5 and is rolling out really to all of the future Cadillac and really General Motors sedans. It's a really enabler for our 0-0 future and our vision with Cadillac being the lead of GM's vision for zero congestion, zero crashes, and zero emissions. And so, yeah, so part of that architecture is obviously the bandwidth and the processing power. Part of that is really the over-the-air update capability. And so whether the customer wants to go ahead and accept updates remotely, or they could still go to a dealer to have updates. And then the enhanced cybersecurity is the third benefit of the new architecture. Obviously, with that capability, you need to have world-class cybersecurity measures, and we have all of that. In a real sense, and really Cadillac's been doing this, but more with just the dealer experience, we've been setting up our vehicle technology to really be updatable and upgradable. And you'll see a lot more of that. And so what I mean by that is, if you think about the cell phone industry and some of the other industries, technology industries that are out there, it's changing so quickly. And vehicles don't move as quick as that. So you need to have an architecture that's expandable. And so in a real sense, if you own your Cadillac long enough, it will be smarter and more capable the day you turn it in than the day you bought it. And so that really is part of the future vision of Cadillac.
All right. I see Paul Strauss asked a question, but I believe Casey has already answered it. Customers can have the option. They can, obviously the Cadillac Live agent can hear them, and the customer has the option to use chat instead if they wish. Anybody else? If you've got more questions, please type them in. I think we're kind of nearing the end here, so we'll say speak now or forever hold your peace on the Q&A session. And again, while we're waiting for any last minute questions to come up, let me just repeat those hashtags again. It's Mama eMeet, Cadillac, and Cadillac Live. And again, thanks to Cadillac. Thanks for to all of you for hosting this meeting. This has been a lot of fun and a neat experience at seeing pioneering customer interface technology here.
Hey, Ken, I got a quick question. Do you know what the power distribution is for the different drive modes on the CT5 Sport? So just between front and rear? Yeah, so I don't have those memorized, but we can get those to you. No doubt. Okay, cool. So if you contact them on, I'm sure we can provide that to you. But yeah, the modes do impact the drive distribution, in particular with all-wheel drive and the torque split between front to rear. Cool. Yeah, I know I got a CT5 Sport in May, and not that I should be doing this, but I can't get it to slide on me at all around corners. It does not want to move. It's that thing is very glued to the pavement. It's an amazing machine, and I love it. But yeah, I was just curious what drive modes would get it to get a little squirrely on you. Okay. Yeah, definitely ask the question. We can get you information. Cool.
That actually that brings.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Rick. Go ahead.
I was just thinking, as a corollary to that, in the CT4V's segment, am I right, Ken, in that it is the only one that's actually based on a rear-wheel drive architecture? Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge advantage in a number of areas, and that's something that we've been definitely promoting, is the fact that if you look at all the four-doors in that segment, some of those competitors that I mentioned, whether it's A-Class CLA, 2 Series Grand Coupes, A3s, they're all front-wheel drive based. And so I'm sure most of the folks on here know when you're a front-wheel drive based vehicle, you've got a lot of weight over the front wheels. And so generally those are 59-41, 60-40 front to rear, where you have the CT4 and the CT5 are closer to the perfect 50-50 weight distribution. And even with all-wheel drive, you're a lot closer to 50-50.
And so from a dynamic standpoint, that feel of a rear-wheel drive is definitely something different than what you'll find in the competitors, but just in weight distribution and balance as you go around corners and you have equal balance, equal distribution of weight over your wheels and the tire contact patch, or even if you think about it when you accelerate from a standstill, where does your mass transfer? It transfers to the rear wheels, and if those are your drive wheels, obviously that provides advantage as well. And so, yep, Rick, thanks. Great question. Your CT4, CT5 rear-wheel drive with all-wheel drive available on every model. We think we have a dynamics advantage out
Yeah, we'll revisit that one. Formula One and NASCAR go front-wheel drive. Eh?
there. Yeah. The other thing too, I'll just say is you see it in the styling. So we're obviously a longitudinal based engine front to rear, whereas those front-wheel drive based are transverse side to side. And so you see it really in the long hood line here and how the wheels look really pushed to the corners. And so, if you look at the front axle to the dash in that dimension and compare that to the front wheel drive based entries, it does provide a different design aesthetic as well as just a balance and a performance advantage.
All right, and I just wanted to mention, I don't see anything else coming in. If you do have a question that occurs to you, you can feel free to circle back and follow up. I think Aman can field those questions. So yes, with that, I think that wraps it up for us. Again, I'd like to thank everybody at Cadillac for hosting today and giving us such a neat walk around. And again, everybody keep an eye on your emails for the next e-meet that we'll be announcing in the near future. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Cadillac Live.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Bye.